Bienvenidos a Soy Violento, Soy Macabro Podcast. Yo soy Ali.
Y yo soy Dee.
Y hoy Dee nos contará de un caso que sucedió en Copacabana, Colombia.
In January 2024, a 19-year-old mother traveled to Colombia to celebrate a belated birthday with the man she believed she was in love with, along with the recent achievement of graduating from her modeling courses. But in the middle of what meant to be a joyful trip, jealousy, rage, and control would end her life. On today's episode, we examine the warning signs and the obsession that stole the life of a young mother. This is a tragic case of Isabella Mesa Sánchez.
Advertencia: la información de este caso puede ser desencadenante para algunos. Tenga en cuenta que algunos de estos casos pueden involucrar menores de edad, abuso, violación o violencia. Escuchen con precaución.
Warning: the information on this case can be triggering to some. Please be advised that some of these cases may involve children, abuse, rape, and violence. Listen with caution.
Los hijos para la mamá siempre van a ser lo mejor. Para una mamá no hay hijo feo, no hay hijo malo.
Isabella Mesa Sanchez was born in 2004 in Copacabana, Colombia, roughly 25 miles from Medellin. She was born to Sandra Mesa, and her father's name is unknown, so we don't really have details on her dad. Little is known about Isabella's early life, but at a young age, she was raised by her maternal grandmother after her mother migrated to León, Guanajuato in search for better job opportunities to support her family. Although they lived in two different countries, Isabella and Sandra maintained a very close relationship, according to what her mother says. Sandra said that her bond was far beyond mother and daughter, to the point that people often assumed that they were sisters. Isabella's family and friends described her as loving, compassionate, and charismatic. She had a way of making anyone around her feel loved. Isabella's uncle, Mauricio Mesas, told Caracol Televisión that Isabella met Sebastián Villegas Cardona when she was 13 years old and he was 15. He recalls that Sebastián would wait outside her school, slowly forming a friendship with her. According to friends' testimonies, Sebastián was in love with Isabella, but they never pursued a relationship because Isabella was dating someone else at the time that they met. At 16 years old, Isabella became pregnant, and in February 2021, she gave birth to her son, Maximiliano. Isabella dropped out of school in order to work and provide an income to support her family and her son. Her child became her greatest motivation. Eventually, her mother offered Isabella to move to Mexico, where there were better job opportunities, and she was, more flexible with who could take care of the baby and, just finish school and do what she needed to do in order to be successful in life. While in León, Isabel completed her studies and found opportunities working as a model for local businesses. She began gaining popularity and eventually became an established model. One of her biggest dreams was to open a boutique with her best friend and creating a portfolio business to support her family. Her biggest motivation was that she wanted to pursue modeling and creating her boutique in order to make enough income to support herself, but as well as her son. Although she loved Mexico and the success she had found there, she still missed her friends in Copacabana. She kept in contact with them mainly through text messages and social media, but she always felt like she was missing them. And she would always be on her phone in order to keep constant communication with them. In October 2023, Isabella rekindled her relationship with Sebastián. Now that she was single, they decided to take the next step in the relationship. At the time, Sebastian had joined the military and was serving for the Colombian military base. According to Isabella's mother, Isabella was constantly glued to her phone, always talking to Sebastian. She was always texting him. Anytime that you would see Isabella, she was constantly in communication with Sebastian. She kept her phone close at all times, just in case he messaged her. After some time, Sebastian began to show his true colors. He became increasingly jealous and possessive, telling Isabella that he didn't like men looking at her photos or interacting with her online. According to the court documents, Sebastian allegedly monitored who Isabella spoke to and asked her to share her WhatsApp screen. So you know how like on your phone, you could sometimes share your screen with the person that you're chatting with or talking to on the phone, and they can see your screen. So he would ask her to do that. And when he would do that, he would see what apps she had, who were the people that she was text messaging with, who she was calling, everything. And he was
Very
constantly,
possessive.
he constantly wanted to know who she was talking to at all times. Even though she was on the phone with him, she wanted to know everything. It came to the point that she would even take pictures of her surroundings. So if she was, if she was out with friends, she had to take pictures of herself and her friend, and then of the locations she was at. It started to even affect her modeling career because he didn't like that she was modeling. So he was like, I don't like, your modeling career. And then she started to slowly back away from modeling because he was so possessive and, just didn't enjoy the fact that she was doing that as her career choice. Often her family would say that, I know,
That's way too much.
A lot, but often her family would say that he would blame it on his insecurities, that he was very insecure about, other people, and like he didn't trust other people around her, that it wasn't about her, it was about other people. And she was mostly like, in order to avoid any conflict with him, she would do what he would say. So she wouldn't like have to upset him or have to have a fight about it. She was just like, you know what, I'm going to do what he needs to do so he can feel safe at the fact that, I'm not talking to anybody. According to court documents.
And that was her living in Mexico, right? While she was in Mexico.
Yeah, so they were in a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
He was still in Colombia and she was in Mexico. Okay. But it was, even if they were far apart, he would still monitor everything that she was doing. So if she posted a photo online, he was the first one to comment. He was the first one to, look at her likes or look at her comments. Or if they were on the phone, like he was constantly checking who she was talking to. It came to the point that he would even be upset at the fact that she would still talk to her ex-partner, the father of her baby. And he would be upset that they were still in communication. Even though her and her co-partner, well, her baby's daddy, they were co-parenting, and she needed to keep in contact with him.
It wasn't like flirtatious or anything like that.
There was no relationship. They were just, they were really great friends. So they stayed friends, but he was jealous at the fact that they were still in communication. He even threatened her to like lose all communication with him. And she was like, no, this is my child's dad. Like, I'm going to have a relationship for the rest of my life because we have a child together. And he didn't enjoy that at all. He was really upset at the fact that they were still holding on to that connection, which is inevitable. I mean, there is co-parenting. Sebastian threatened Isabella multiple times over her interactions with other men. According to court testimony, he told her that if he found out that she was talking to other men, he wouldn't care about killing whoever it was, and that he could even kill her. Yeah, that's how bad it got. According to court documents, Sebastián invited Isabella to celebrate her birthday together. It wasn't clear whose birthday it was, whether it was his or hers. He just wanted her to come to Colombia so they could celebrate together. Other documents say that they were going to meet up because she had finished her modeling course and she graduated. So he wanted her to come to Colombia so they can celebrate together. But at the end of the day, they ended up making plans and they were going to meet up in Copacabana and they were going to celebrate. During the time he was on leave for the military. So he was going to be off from mid-January to I think the end of January. So they could spend like time together through this whole time. During this point, he had actually told his mother, like, can she stay with us? Like, I want her to stay with us because we're going to, hang out and like I just want her to be with me. And he introduced her to his parents as his girlfriend. On January 23rd, Isabella had reposted a sketch of a man and a woman hugging and tagged Sebastián with like the little twinkling stars on her Facebook page. In the photo, it's like they're both like just like hugging each other. And in the bottom, it says that like, whoever posted that put in the bottom, quote, "All my life, I dreamt of someone like you." And in that same post, Sebastián put like hearts on it. This was the last post that Isabella posted on her Facebook page. And it's still unclear if she posted it when she was there or if it was when she was still in Mexico. But the point is that she was like really looking forward to the fact that she was going to spend time with it. She was really excited and couldn't imagine a more perfect way of celebrating than with him. During the time in Colombia, Sebastián introduced her to, her family, telling them that was his girlfriend and, talked about what she did for a living. He also, they began to spend a lot of time together and they would go, out together, but he still held on to his jealousy. He was still holding on to his like controlling behaviors and he still was very possessive over her. After a few days, however, the relationship became even more rocky. Isabella ended up telling her friends that she was starting to feel bored from the relationship, that it wasn't what she expected, and she eventually wanted to break up with him. That she didn't feel comfortable, that she felt like he was too possessive, and he was too jealous. Also, she said that she had found Sebastián's computer open and that she had found messages on Sebastián's Facebook page where he was talking to other women. And she just was tired of it. She wanted to break up with him because all this time he was out here being possessive, jealous, controlling when he was talking to other women.
He could do it. She can't. She wasn't even doing it.
I know. She didn't. She was madly in love with him. And she didn't have to, be possessive or jealous towards anybody. She just, let him do his thing and, be with him and in a relationship with him. She didn't have to be possessive over him, or act like there was any sort of ownership. She just wanted, to have a relationship. And he was out here wanting her and trying to claim her to the world, Isabella's friend told El Colombiano that an argument broke out between Isabella and Sebastián at a party that was held at a farm on January 28th. So after spending a couple of days together, they had held a party at a farm and they were all going to hang out. They were all going to, be there for the time being. But things just started to feel very heavy when it became to both of them. They started arguing in front of their friends. they started, kind of just being very toxic with one another. She told reporters, quote, "It all started at the beginning of the party because he had owed everyone money, including Isabella. They began to argue and it escalated into shoving. He was the jealous type, very possessive, and as the party was winding down, he became increasingly aggressive towards her." According to court documents, Sebastian had borrowed money to pay off gambling debt and other expenses. They argued through the night and he became jealous seeing Isabella around her friends. He kept a close eye on her and isolated her from others when he had a chance. So apparently, I can't remember the exact amount, but he ended up borrowing over 2,000 pesos for his gambling debt, but also to buy stuff for her in Colombia, as well as money for the party. So basically, instead of being treated to everything, he was paid with her money. And she was tired of it. She wanted her money. Plus, it wasn't that it was only her, it was all of their friends. He had borrowed money from all of them. After the party, they returned to Sebastian's home, where the argument continued. Sebastian had discovered that Isabella was going to meet up with Maximiliano's father during her trip to Colombia, and he became furious. The dispute over money further intensified the confrontation. According to court details, Sebastian attacked Isabella with a knife. The forensic autopsy revealed that she was stabbed 24 times. 8 of those wounds were at the neck, with additional injuries across her body, her arms, and her waist. The forensic pathologist concluded that many of the wounds indicated defense injuries, meaning Isabella fought back. After the attack, Sebastian used cleaning products to remove the bloodstains from around the house. At the time of the attack, Sebastian's mother and stepfather were attending a church event. She returned home early after receiving multiple phone calls from her neighbors, who reported hearing screams from the home. When she arrived, she found her son disinfecting the home and immediately sensed something was wrong. During the initial confrontation, Sebastian told his mother he would not be returning to the military base because he had done something very bad. He asked her, quote, "You're going to turn me in, aren't you?" When she asked about Isabella's whereabouts, he refused to answer. As she searched the house, she entered his room and saw a suitcase lying on the floor. And she knew that she needed to find help. According to Sebastian's mother, she rushed to the military base to report her son and how he had murdered his girlfriend and needed someone to detain him. Soldiers contacted local police who went to the home, and when they arrived, Sebastian was gone. Officers opened the suitcase and found Isabella's body inside. The National Army later stated, quote, "The mother went into battalion facilities to report the situation, which was then relayed to the military unit, to the National Police, who went to the site where they found the woman's lifeless body." Court documents revealed that Sebastian had tied Isabella's neck, hands, and feet, positioned her into a fetal position, placed her in a white plastic bag, and put her body inside the suitcase. Hours later, Sebastian turned himself in to the authorities, and he was placed in custody pending his trial. On January 31st, Isabella was laid to rest in Medellin. Her ceremony was surrounded by family and friends who wore shirts with her image and spoke very loving about her life. Isabella's best friend, Michelle Velez, told reporters that they had often discussed women who were victims of femicide and how they feared one day becoming victims themselves. During the funeral service, Sebastián delivered a message to Sandra. According to Sandra, there was no real acknowledgement or genuine apology from what had happened. He claimed he was madly in love with Isabella and that it drove him crazy. There was no true recognition that what he did was wrong. Days after the funeral, Isabella's family and friends and members of the community marched to the streets demanding maximum sentence for aggravated femicide and raising awareness about domestic violence. After surrendering, Sebastián was taken to jail. A few months later, he attempted to escape. According to court documents, on February 3rd, 2024, Sebastián had asked a guard if he could use the bathroom. Knowing that the detention center was understaffed, he believed he could escape. Once inside, he attempted to flee through the window. When officers realized he had been taking too long, they intervened, and Sebastián was apprehended and transferred to the maximum security prison. According to Bogotá.gov, sentencing for feminicide ranges from 200 to 500 months, approximately 20 to 50 years in prison. In April 2024, Sebastián's defense attorney requested a plea agreement. Court documents stated that his sentencings could be reduced up to 25% if he pled guilty. On May 10th, 2024, Sebastián Villegas Córdoba was sentenced to 31 years and 3 months in prison for aggravated femicide against Isabella Mesa Sánchez. He is not eligible for parole, sentence reduction for good behavior, or house arrest due to the severity of his crimes. In his final testimony, he told the court, quote, "First of all, to Miss Sandra Milena Mesa Sanchez, to her family, to her uncle, to Maximiliano, I want to sincerely ask for your forgiveness for all the damage, for all the pain caused. I feel very sorry for what I did. I feel pain for the situation I have put you through. I am willing to serve my sentence as God and Colombian law required of me. Thank you very much for listening to me." However, Sandra told the court she did not accept his apology. She stated, quote, "Neither my forgiveness nor the 3-year-old child left without a mother, the one who still doesn't understand that she will never return, will be able to fill your soul, much less your heart if you have one." Although this case sparked backlash towards Sandra for not protecting her daughter, and towards Sebastián's mother for turning in her own son, it is baffling how quickly the community shifts blame onto grieving families. At the end of the day, Isabella was her own person. She was in love, and like many young women in love, she may have chosen to stay despite warning signs. Sandra also publicly defended Sebastián's mother, acknowledging that she too was a victim of her son's actions.
Wait, why were they judging the mom, la mamá de Sebastián?
Well, they were basically, in the reports, they were saying that she raised a monster, that she raised somebody who was capable of such actions. And also because, he was jealous, possessive, and that drove him to, murder Isabella. They were basically saying, like, this woman doesn't have any morals and didn't teach her son any better. But at the same time, she, if it was her fault, she still did the right thing, Like, they didn't put that into consideration. There was also people that were judging her for turning her son in, because basically saying, like, that wasn't, like, very loyal of her. But at the same time, it's like, he murdered somebody.
He murdered someone, right?
Yeah, but like at some point you can win with society. There's always gonna be.
There's always something.
Yeah. So
like, even
for them,
criticizing Sandra también.
Yeah, I'm like, for me, I was like, when I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? She's a mother. Because they were saying like, oh, she left her daughter alone in Colombia with, to be raised by her grandmother while she was in Mexico. Another one was like, oh, she didn't stop, her daughter from talking to Sebastian. Or, she could have like refused that her daughter go to Colombia to see Sebastian. But it's like,
even if she told her not to go, she was still gonna go.
Exactly.
Her mom had to go to Mexico to make money and make a living and give Isabella a better life. You can't judge a mother for that.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
It's like I like whenever I see things like that, I'm like, she did this in order to better her life and the life of her daughter. So you really can't judge her. And then for her not stopping, yeah, exactly. La dejó con su mamá y todavía hablaban todos los días. They still had like a lovely relationship. Her mother would come visit her. Like they're acting like, she abandoned her daughter and like didn't care about her when like they had the most beautiful and like loving relationship with one another. But people are gonna talk.
Oh yeah,
they're always gonna find reasons to say something bad about somebody.
I feel like people don't understand that. Because, I mean, we've talked about this in so many cases where people go online and they start talking bad about the family or the parents. And it's like they're grieving a loss.
Yeah.
Like, that's not... They don't want to hear these things. They don't want to see this.
No. And one of the things that I admire the most about Sebastian's mother is that she also reached out to Sandra when Isabella was murdered. Like, she was the one that told her. The cops didn't tell her. She herself was the one that told her, like, my son killed your daughter. So she turned her son in. She, told the military base. She told Sandra about what happened. And she still, was helpful in the case and, was part of the trial in order to put her son in prison. She tried her best. She was a mom that she could easily have turned her like back against this whole situation and would have made things worse. We've seen cases where like mothers are like complicit and are like the ones that are, trying to hide what their son did or like what their daughters did. But she took that initiative and did something about it. She saw something and she did something about it, And I think people don't give her enough credit for what she actually did. They're just judging her by her son's actions, when in reality, it didn't matter. She did the right thing. Sandra also told reporters, quote, "My daughter gave him her dream, her life. She left everything for nothing because she had everything. Her family, her job. And she decided to run away to leave everything because she fell in love with him. Because he promised her heaven on earth, only to kill her in such a heartbreaking way." Although Sebastian asked for forgiveness and received a sentence for the brutal attack that ended Isabella's life, no number of years can return a daughter to her mother or give a little boy back his own. Today's case is a painful reminder that jealousy is not love, control is not protection, and obsession can turn deadly. This was a tragic case of Isabella Mesa Sanchez. If you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence, you can find support at www.thehotline.org or contact them at 1-800-799-7233. Again, you can find support at www.thehotline.org or at 1-800-799-7233. For further information on warning signs and resources in Colombia, we will have them in the description of this episode.
Amable, súper cariñosa, respetuosa, amorosa. Realmente tenía demasiadas. O sea, no hay palabras como para describir totalmente a Isabela.
Me duele mucho el corazón ver solamente cuando pasan estos actos que realmente nos concientizamos a lo que está pasando en nuestra sociedad. Realmente, mujeres, salgamos de las relaciones tóxicas, hombres, respetemos la vida, dejemos la violencia. Si una relación no es, entonces no estemos en ella, porque pueden pasar cosas mayores.
Y la verdad, mujeres, les aconsejo que por favor se alejen a la primera vez que las traten mal, que las insulten. Lastimosamente, hoy estamos en el entierro de mi amiga Isabella y la verdad me duele un montón porque yo no quería esto para ella. Y por favor, aléjense a la primera vez que los hombres le demuestren que no las valoran, no las quieren.
El máximo castigo a este hombre, que es un hombre perverso, un hombre que al parecer prelimitó todos estos hechos, porque como hoy es mi hija, les digo, mañana puede ser la hija de cualquiera de ustedes. Lamentablemente no la dejó gozar mucho su vida, se la cortó muy rápido a ella, a su hijo, la mamá. Pero para mí era una niña excepcional, no importa lo que pueda haber sido para los demás.
And that was the case for this week. Once again, our hearts go to the Mesa Sanchez family, as well as little Maximiliano. We are so heartbroken that another, lovely, beautiful, intelligent woman was taken too soon at the hands of jealousy and possession and possessiveness and control. And it also is a reminder, that you need to see the warning signs for what they are and not just, close a blind eye on them. And I hope that the story becomes, as a reminder that there is help out there. And most importantly, Isabella's friends were part of this interview where they talk about domestic violence and, speak to other women and say, leave. He's not going to change. He's crying wolf. You don't deserve this. Just leave. And it's so heartbreaking that they felt the need to say that. And that we still have to say that every year. And as close as we start to get to March 8th and Las Marchas and, International Women's Day and having to see these type of murders continue to happen. And,
happening too often. Too often. And they're getting worse.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, it hurts more to see that we still have to talk about it, because it's a constant epidemic in our society, and it's not even like only in South America or in Central America or even down in Mexico, but it's like worldwide. And I feel like overall it's something that needs to stop. And I'm so proud of everybody that is a part of those marches and a part of, standing for women in International Women's Day and support one another and still speak about these stories, because it's tragically we lost somebody, but at the same time, we're trying to warn other women to not be another part of these statistics. Our hearts go out to the Mesa Sanchez family.
Without his mother.
God, I know. And he's so little too. Like, he's so little. He was little when she passed away, and like
that lo que dijo Sebastián, I hope they can forgive me. No, like you weren't thinking about Maximiliano when you were doing this. You weren't thinking about the family or the child. So don't even go there.
And the fact that he was still like trying to escape, trying to run away, that shows no sign of empathy. And my heart goes out to Sebastián's mother, because I know that it's a guilt that she has to live with as well for the actions of her son. So at this point, it's not only, them losing Isabella, but it's also a mother losing her own son, which, you know, it's completely, it's another different pain on its own. But yeah, if you have any comments regarding this case, any thoughts, please let us know. Our platforms are open for you guys to comment, to discuss, to share stories, to share experiences. We would love to hear from you guys. And yeah, we have our social media platforms. You could follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, or X as it's known now, Facebook, and YouTube. You can find us at SVSM_podcast or Sobre tu Macabro podcast. If you type that up on the search bar, we should pop up. Yeah, we have the video portion of this episode on our YouTube channel. You could just type in Sobre tu Macabro podcast or SVSM_podcast. And our playlist should pop up there, as well as the shorts of these episodes. But yeah, if you leave comments there, we will try our best to reply. And we really appreciate you guys for listening and for welcoming us to another week, to your daily routine or weekly routine, technically. If you haven't heard the rest of our 165 episodes, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you stream podcasts. Just type in Sobre tu Macabro podcast, and our whole catalog should be there. If it isn't, please let us know, and we will forward our RSS so you can listen to it in those platforms. Yeah. Am I forgetting something?
I don't think so. I think you're good.
Okay. Well, I'll keep it short because Ali is sick, so I don't want to keep her on more than she has to be. One quick recommendation for this week. Huh? I'm watching Love Story on Hulu. It's the JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bassett love story.
Okay.
Beautiful. I love it. I'm on episode 3 and I'm obsessed. Bridgerton came out tonight, so I'm gonna be binge watching that. And yeah, that's basically it. Do you have any recommendations? I know that you're sick, so I don't no pressure.
No recommendations right now. Just get your rest, don't get sick, because
I know
there's something going around right now. yeah, it's hot as hell and we're sick, so please take care of yourself. Yes. But with that, I guess we'll see you guys next week. Nos vemos.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye. Stay spooky. Bye.